Hey guys, Kathy Iconis here, ready to get going on our next session for the Cleanup Master Course. Um, so, I hope you guys are all doing well. I am having a little bit of a freak out moment, I think. Oh, I totally did that. So, I had a webinar earlier today on how to use Excel, and great webinar, loved it. Yet totally forgot to record it. So yeah, I'm gonna try not to get that to mess with my mind for today. Okay. So I hope you guys are doing well. Let's see, we have people are in attendance, which is great. Um, you guys can see, hear everything, all that's working. Fun jazz. I hope you all are ready for an amazing day of fixing transactions and reconciliation stuff, like walking through actual reconciliations more. Obviously, last session we talked about all the different options in reconciliations and all of that. You can always feel free, if you have any questions from last time or anything like that, put those into the questions panel so that we can get those. Um, really going to have to give up on the fact that I didn't record this last session. Not in this course, but early, yeah, just an hour ago. That's how days go, right? Sometimes it works, sometimes you forget. So, which, by the way, we are recording right now. So we're good to go. You guys will definitely get this video afterwards. Okay. So today we are talking about fixing transactions. And throughout the course of today's session, I'm going to be going through and doing more bank reconciliations and fixing the transactions as we go through it so you can see real world examples of everything. But let's go over what we're going to be talking about, what you're going to see. Okay, we're going to have duplicate transactions, how the point of using $0 transactions, again, looking at the clearing account and the cleanup account. And then if we run into product service mapping issues, we're going to talk about those. Okay, so to kick it off, duplicate transactions. And it kind of jumps around a little bit. So you guys know last time I introduced you to the cleanup account, right? So while we're going through the bank reconciliations, if we see a transaction that we're not sure about, is not reconciling what's going on, we can move it to the cleanup account, okay? And then we address the transactions that are in the cleanup account. One of the things we look at is to see if it is a duplicate, if it's in there in the books somewhere. Well, I'll tell you that sometimes the easiest thing to do first is to check the register or check the listing in the bank reconciliation to see if you also see a duplicate in there. Okay. This is just a matter of cutting down on the number of clicks that you do. So when you are going through a bank reconciliation, it is just good to just be aware or be on the lookout of possible duplicate transactions, okay? So looking at this example in here, I have Insightly on 6/7 for $118, and then I have Insightly for on 6/7 for $118. You see that one transaction did not clear the bank feed and the other one did. So if I understand this client and know that a lot of transactions were entered like duplicated, right? And I just know that that's how this is going to work, I can just go ahead and void this transaction from this screen or from the bank reconciliation screen. If I were to take this transaction, change the account from City Costco to the cleanup account, then when I'm reviewing cleanup transactions, I'm going to do a search in QBO for that dollar amount, 118, see if there's another one right near it, and then figure out which one to get rid of. So you can see where if it's right here and it's right next to it, let's take advantage of that when it's right here. So we don't have to do like click, 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 all that other stuff, right? The point of the cleanup account that we have is to deal with difficult transactions, but then also clean up the cleanup account and get rid of all those transactions once we figure out what we should do with them. So if we're adding stuff over there that we really could have just taken care of really, really quickly over here, that just is going to add more work over on that end. So spend the extra second or two on that, okay? Now, what happens sometimes is that I've talked about the linking of transactions or, of information, a transaction to another transaction. So one example of that is the billable expense. So here is an example of, hey, I have Insightly cost, right? I have a subscription amount and I say it's billable to this client, right? I don't want to mess with that line because I don't know if it's on an invoice. I don't know if it's been billed yet. I don't want to just delete this because I don't want to mess up with anything it's linked to. But what I can do is add a whole separate line on here to zero out the transaction. Okay. So our subscription reimbursement amount on the P&L is going to be 0, right? Because we have a positive and a negative. The total amount of this transaction is 0, but I'm not getting rid of that little billable expense that was created in here, which is key because I don't want to have to then figure out invoicing and stuff like that if something screws up over there. So that's how I deal with these. And I just create a $0 transaction. I keep that amount right there and put in a negative and we're good to go. Okay, maybe even want to put in description to zero out amount that's linked to a billable expense. Obviously, I'm not typing all of that in because I'm not. You can if you want to, but I don't know. In most situations, I'm doing the cleanup and it's not like someone else looking at it really after the fact. So I'm not going to put in as many notes as I use. If someone's looking after me, I'm going to put in more detail and things to explain negatives and stuff. But yeah, otherwise it's fine. Okay. So next, let's talk about clearing accounts. Okay. So, and I'm thinking in my head, this is the part I have 2 classes running concurrently. So I have the month-end class and the cleanup class, right? Some of these concepts I talk about. So I talked about the clearing accounts yesterday, but that's not the cleanup class. So I think, I covered it in reconciliations last time. So it's just a matter of like how much time do I want to like really, really harp on this one. So what I'm going to talk about is the high level stuff of this, okay? On clearing accounts, the point of it is to take difficult transactions and put them in a separate account to deal with, okay? Things that represent a specific area of the business. So this is where when you're connected to certain apps, you can do a PayPal clearing account. So any PayPal transactions go to that clearing account for me to deal with, right? Any Stripe transactions go there to a Stripe clearing account. If I have a payroll provider that doesn't integrate with QBO, all payroll transactions go to a payroll clearing account and I deal with it over there. Okay. That allows me to get through my checking reconciliation, right? And then I deal with that second reconciliation on my clearing account, whatever type of clearing account it is. And I'm just dealing with things in that area, PayPal or Stripe or whatever. So as I've told you guys before, when we are doing cleanups, it's basically to-do list after to-do list after to-do list, right? We created our own checklist at the beginning, but then we get into the detail of like, these 10 transactions need to be dealt with, and I don't know how to deal with them, right? So let's put them somewhere else so we can deal with them later and they don't impact my reconciliation of making my checking account perfect or my credit card account perfect, right? I just move them over there and then I'll make that account perfect later. So that's what we're doing. And that's, again, the cleanup account is a type of clearing account. So any transactions that are like crazy, right? Um, we go through in here. Now, I just want to make sure, yeah, we're on the right class. I just had like I'm having a day. I'm sorry. I'm having a day. I'm just like losing it. So, um, I'm assuming you guys would yell at me if I was teaching the wrong stuff or something. So, because guess what? I've done that. I started a class, like I started teaching a cleanup class, and no, I went in and did like the next class on the wrong day for something, and I was like, uh, 10 minutes, and I'm like, wait a second, I did the wrong thing, and then had to back out of it and get into the other one, and felt completely stupid. And hey, I think I'm just having PTSD from that because I just feel stupid from what I did earlier. Okay, let it go, Kathy. Let it go. Okay, cleanup account is the type of clearing account that that deals with all those problem transactions, and we're going to go through each of those transactions um, individually. Okay, there are instances where there would be two transactions that I have put into the cleanup account that actually like offset each other. We'll see examples of those. So what I do to go through it is I do a reconciliation. So I'm checking off things that kind of just clear each other out in that cleanup account. And that shortens my list down to 10 items from 20 or whatever it is, so that I go through and I deal with those. And then, so this is where I do that duplicate reconciliation over and over again, just to like, okay, let's get things taken care of. So when there are transactions in the cleanup account, we're seeing, are they duplicate transactions? Are they just coded the wrong way? Um, if it's something that never cleared the bank, should it have cleared the bank? Do we need, is it a check that was written 5 years ago and never cleared? And, we just actually need to void it or something. I don't reissue the check. All of that sort of stuff, we're going to be looking at trying to figure out what is the substance of that transaction and what should happen to that transaction for it to be correct within QBO. So let me go to the next area. Another issue we can run across is where things are coded to the incorrect area, right? Um, and this is, so assume we've gone through all the bank reconciliations pretty much, and now we're looking to see if everything's coded in the right accounts. This might be a good, looking at the P&L and reviewing that, all the detail there to make sure things are in the right place, right? So I utilized reclassified transactions in that way to just get like the snapshot view of things of what's going on in the account. What you will notice is as of today, they have changed the way reclassified transaction looks. I'm like, wait, what? They've updated it. It is now more in the new user interface, new look, not the old look. So we'll play around with that a little bit. But the important part to know is that you can only reclassify accounts on transactions. You cannot reclassify a product or service on a transaction, also known as an item. So when you set up a product and service, it is mapped to a chart of account. So you would think you could just easily flow through and do that, but you cannot. Okay. Um, what you have to do is actually go into the transaction and change the product service to get it to go somewhere else, or go back to the product service itself and update those the historical transactions or whatever you need. I'm going to show you more of that too. Okay, you're going to see like all of that sort of stuff. So let's see. The example I have here, which is a similar example we're going to see, is that I'm looking at a cost of goods sold account, right? Looking at project software. I'm scrolling through here and I realize there's an invoice listed in there. So that's odd, right? And then I see a negative amount. Also odd, because that means it's a negative expense. Or since it's an invoice, it's actually revenue, right? So it's like, hey, what's going on here? When I open up that transaction, I see here, and it's just product services consulting. Remember, I can't reclassify that in the reclassify area. I have to actually go to the product service area and fix it. Okay, fix the mapping. Or I could just put in a new product service here and do that. But let's look at the product service. We have this set up where first it's consulting and it's set up to go to that cost of goods sold account. So that's not right. You know, if we're utilizing that as a revenue thing and the sales information needs to go to an income or revenue account, right? So what do I do to change that? Well, you can change the mapping, right? I can change it to consulting revenue. When I start to change it, I also have the option to update the historical transactions. If you click that, it is going to change it historically through all of the years. Okay. If you are not updating, you know, like 3 years ago or whatever, then this checkbox might not be the best option for you. You're going to have to weigh your options because it will make an impact in prior periods. Okay. But the only other way to fix this is if I don't check it, right? That means that any future transactions with that product service will go to consulting revenue. It won't do anything to the historical ones. So if I need to change the ones from the year that I'm working on, I have to go into each of those transactions, add a new line with that consulting. Like I'd come here and do a whole new consulting line, delete the first one and save. And then that will be mapped under the new method that I had set up of where that would go. Okay, so let's get back into it. Haha, into it. Okay, I'm gonna pull this over to the other screen really quick to log back in so you don't see my whole client list. And we are gonna do some reconciliations and cleaning up stuff, really fixing things in here, okay? And then know that we're getting really into the core of this. We're almost done with the month of training. We have, you know, this last 2 trainings in here. So with that, yeah, we're getting into the core of really what are we doing and fixing the stuff and looking at things. And next time, we're going into even more complicated transactions and how to fix them. Okay, so we pause loading this content to help other items on this page go faster. Oh, QBO, you're so pretty. You're so pretty. Okay, so I'm going to go to my report tools, right? I'm changing this I want to make sure this is 1/1 to 5/31/18. That's the period that I'm cleaning up. Okay. Guess what the reclassify does now? it doesn't freaking remember. Like that was part of the cool part of report tools. So totally new screen today, guys. Like, yeah, sure. Whole new screen. Okay, I'm changing the date to the date that I want because, they got rid of that little fun option. I can do find transactions now, and it looks like it gives me everything. Kind of cool, I guess. I don't know. It's basically the same, a little bit of different functionality, and it just looks prettier. So that's what we have going on in reclassified transactions. Just wanted to let you know those changes. If I do, I'm guessing the reclassify is here. Okay. You change account to and class to right there. Okay. That's the way that has changed. Okay, let's ignore that. Let's go to reconcile. They just know how to throw you for a loop sometimes. Okay, we're going to Dropbox. Okay. So which ones did we do last? So let's go back to checking. Right? I did January. I want to do February. Right? Okay. So we're gonna do this, get the screen by screen going, and we're gonna listen to Kathy talk through reconciliations for a while. So the ending date is 2/28/18. Great. Our beginning balance all works. I'm not getting that crazy error of things. But I come in here, I have all the things like automatically checked off on stuff, but I have a pretty big difference. Like, what's up, buddy? That's pretty big. So I'm just gonna go ahead and check all to uncheck all in here. Gonna get that one and start checking off stuff. It's a little small. There we go. Eh, eh. Um, I can get rid of reference number. That'll make it a little bit bigger for me, right? Okay, so 995, 441, 98, anything? Oh, these are even like January 2018. No, let's skip all those. Let's come back down here. So I need 995 from 22. Okay, good. Looks a little bit better. 441, 1250, 250, 2500, 1240. Do I have 5160? 5160. 8021. My eyes are going dry. Where are you? 992. Okay, see, 8021, 5160. That's going the wrong way. This one's really screwed up. I mean, I did a really good job screwing this up, this account up. Okay, 8021, 992, and 1694, 328, right? 4,100. So much of a mind warp to see it, like the positives and the negatives going on over here. So I did the 927. I need a 441, 1250, 250, 2500. Do I get a 618 up here? There's 2500 there too. Let's see what dates these are. They're all the same. Okay. Get heartburn looking at this sucker. Get another 927. then 252, 839.01. Okay. So that's not right. So let's go back up here because that's not equaling my 14.8, whatever. So I messed up some of these up here then too. Okay, so that 2,500 and that 2,500 actually need to be on the other side. So where's the other side? Well, that 250, right, is right there. Now I just don't have a 2,500. Okay, here's a problem. So this transaction says 217, 25, 2,500, okay? And that is matched up. So remember, this is matched up to 25, right? So what I'm going to do is actually because it doesn't look like it's a correct match on things, right? So I'm going over here and I am going to unmatch this transaction, right? And then the other 250, where's the one I was clicking? Let's just look at payments. No, wait, it was just deposit, right? No, crap, payments. I'm so confused with this. Okay, so yeah, the 2,500. So that's in there now, and then this 250. I'm going to unmatch that. Okay, save and close. Then I'm going to go back over to my bank feeds and go over to checking. When I unmatch things, it comes back over here, right? So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to add the transaction itself instead of matching it because I don't know what that 217 is about, right? So I'm putting that sucker in there. And then I also have this one, 217. It was trying to match up to 3.5, getting rid of that. Going back to the register. Going back to the reconciliation. Okay, and it looks like I have some more to deal with. The 1250.07 should be this one, and so that one. 441, and so that one. The 995 can be that one, and so that one. Now, I just have too many things checked versus my 1487. What's the difference? Oh, I can't even look. 15,121, 53, 15,121, 53 minus 14,871, 53. It's $250. So I checked too many 250s. So coming back down, let's look at all these 250s that I have. That 220 is fine. Okay, let's just look at the payments again. 2.5. Oh, we have a 2.5 that. No. What is happening? I messed it up. Okay, as in I messed all this stuff up earlier. So we're unmatching these. Okay, now we are right at our number. The other thing I want to do is continue looking at these things being off between the date and the clear date, because guess what? This is really an issue. Okay, this seems like a common problem with this client. So I am going to actually take a closer look, because apparently when someone did this, they got really click happy, right? And made all these connections to things. When they're like a couple days off, that's fine. They're a month off? No, I have an issue. Okay. So I have all of those, right? Now I come in and I do the deposits. And I'm starting with 2.5. So let's go all the way down here. Okay, so I have 7250. I need to make this so I can go through this faster. Okay, 25, 250, 67, 2210, 26, 268, 1108, 147. Where's that 590? Did I go past it? Oh, it was right above it. 590, 150, 250, 900, 241, 48, and 4200. Okay, so looking at these to see how off these suckers are, because I know there's like a lot of duplicates sitting right next to each other, right? So like that's 220, 220. Looking at that $900 over here, that was just a deposit. So it's an Intuit deposit. So it could be that one or that one. Not quite sure. I'm just going to go with one. Okay. Gonna figure it out. Now, if I had the deposit detail and stuff, I could go and put more into it, right? And research it to see if it's the right one. But again, we're gonna figure this all out. I just need to make sure I have the amount correct on here. So I go through, let's see, 220. I do not like this one being matched to that, to 131. The but I am going to edit, undo the bank match, and then just, don't want to do save and new. I want to save and close. Okay. Okay, let's see. What else do we have checked? 25, 25, 27. So these all look good, right? I need to go back and click that 250 that was in there. Oh, was that the 250? Was there another 250? 216, which is like that one, and then a 220. Is that the one that I got rid of? Do I have anything clicked for 220? For 250? Let's go with that. Okay, and now I have $48 left. Is there a fee or something? Dear Lord. 16, 718, 68. $48 off. Okay, let's look at it again. Make sure I got all the numbers right. 2,500, 67, 2210, 268, 33, 1108, 147, 590, 150, 250, another 250, a 900, 241.48, and 4,200. So here's the thing. I'm like, I have everything checked off, right? Like, what's going on? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do save for later, right? And I'm going to see if this works and come back and do resume reconciling. Okay, it did not. Okay, let's see. All. I still love how it's like $48 off, but that doesn't look like it's $48 off. Look, let's go back to this 241.48 thing. Dude, I'm gonna lose my mind. Okay, 12, 797.62. That total is not matching it. You guys, are you seeing anything that I'm not seeing? Okay. 14,871. That I have a check for 202, so that would be an issue. Kathy, why didn't you see that before? There's that. Now that makes a difference for 154. Which, but then this number is, okay, no, those are two together. Okay, so now we're off by 154. And I'm not sure why, because I don't have that as a number. You see me working hard here. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this instance, because those match and everything, I am going to try, sometimes seriously, the numbers and the math don't add up right. And I go around, I click around, and I get out of it. Sometimes, let me actually just go ahead and log back out because something screws up and the math just stops working. And that's what happens if I'm spending a lot of time looking at it and going like, I don't understand, math's working, right? Like, I don't get it. I'll log back out and go back in. And get over to my test. Oh, I can't see it. Thanks, QuickBooks. Come on. Test company. Okay, now I can pull it back over here. Please, Lord, be right. Reconcile. Resume reconciliation. Nope, still $154 off. Okay, that's the case. I'm not quite sure why it's off. You guys aren't yelling anything at me like I got something wrong. So, what I'm going to do right now is instead of just jumping straight into uh, doing the reconciliation adjustment, I'm going to clean up these other transactions that are in here. Okay, so I'm going to zero that, come in here. Because they're not checked off and not reconciling, I'm going to change them over to that cleanup account so I can deal with them later. But here I get that error that it's already matched to a transaction. I have to unmatch it first, then I can change it. Now remember, when you unmatch something, it's all going back over to the bank feed. You want to go over that bank feed and exclude those transactions because otherwise someone's going to come back in and recode them all and they're not supposed to be in there. Okay, so we want to go through these. And yes, what I'm doing is I'm doing an unmatch, come in here, clean up, save and close, right? And because I don't see duplicate right next to it right now, it's not anything that I feel like I can void. So I'm just putting it over there and I will deal with it later. Okay, edit. I feel like this is gonna take 5 hours, but it's not. I'm gonna go fast. Oh, I didn't change that one. It's gonna go fast until I just stop doing what I need to do. Okay, clean up, save and close. Now, the other thing I will tell you guys is that I think I shared it already. I have a video of me just doing this and talking through and changing transactions and doing stuff so that you can see what I am doing even more. If you need help falling asleep, that might be a good solution for you. Or if this actually is really entertaining and interesting, you can watch that video to see even more examples of that. I doubt you'll want to watch it more than once. But yes, it is. I think I just want to provide you with more and more examples because while we're doing this, you know, and you've heard me say that um, the more different instances of messed up transactions and everything, the better it is for us in a training situation to see them and know how to deal with things so that you don't freak out later when you come across anything and don't know how to deal with it. Man, I'm just to January 8th. That's awesome. Okay, it's taking a while. Guess what I've said before? When you go down a rabbit hole and you're just stuck on things, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to walk away, okay? I'm saving the sucker for later. I'm going over to the city card. Because guess what? I can do that. I have enough reconciliations I need to do. I can pick another one to do. Oh, Tara, you said there's a notice that says there's a hidden transaction that could be affecting your balance. Could that be why it is not reconciling? Couldn't see the beginning balance on the statement when you started to make sure it was entered correct. We could check that. So yeah, it didn't have a beginning balance off. Great point. But I didn't have that warning or anything. So it would still show me now if the beginning balance is off, it would give me a warning. So if I resume reconciling, show the hidden transactions. I'm assuming they're down here at the bottom. Okay, so you look, there's some like, that's 2-2. Edit, unmatch you. But they're not matched, right? So like, that doesn't get me my 154. I don't even see a transaction that is 154 either. Like at that point, I could just maybe check it off, right? But no, and that amount is correct. Okay, so and the other, back to, did I put in this number correctly? I'm just kind of copy and paste it just to make sure. I mean, it looks the same to me. So, okay, you guys gave me great thoughts to look at, but it didn't help for now. I am going to save for later. And like I said, going over to the city card because city is nicer to me. Okay. And here, so this one is 572837020518. Okay. Let's look at these. I'm telling you, that checking account is majorly messed up. So it'll take a little bit more time. Just like that manual unchecking of things and stuff. And yeah. Now, I could probably go into the bank feed and look at, the bank transactions that were added in January, and I can undo some of those, but I've already done the bank reconciliation. So that could screw up stuff. It's probably going to be manually going through that just to catch up on things, and then get through it all. But I'm not worried about that right this second. I'm going back to this. Okay, so 3,000. Let's look at these. We have 1295, and they're starting off on the right date. 698, 56, a 440 and a 440, 800, 922, 9, 118, 25, 15. Oh, I did that. I did 28.50 instead of 25. 54, 74, 19, 60, 41, 66. 680, 7, 880, 1320, 1320, 1360, 17, 26, 64, 84, 10, 18, 3, 144, 15, 24.99, which is a little later than, do I have an earlier 24.99? No, I'm just gonna go with it. See how it works out for me. Go back up here. 39, another 24.99, so I'll go with that one. 340, 340, 1020, 1020, 50, 340, 20, 39.80, 340, 299, 299, another 24.99, 12.95. Oh wait, here's another 24.99. Right? Okay. 698 and 145. And the fees are 86.81. Obviously, I didn't check something. I didn't check that 13.99. Okay. So looking at this, let's see, do I have any duplicates? I have these amounts that are sitting out there that have not been reconciled. So I am going to change that to the cleanup account to deal with, right? And that one is, oh look, that's a cleanup to a cleanup. That transaction just doesn't need to be in there. But to confirm, I'm just going to move it. Oh, well, unless I'm not, because it really doesn't like that I'm doing it to the same thing. So I'm going to avoid it. Because, yeah, you can't move that to that. Okay, finish now, right? Done. Okay, where's my folder? There we go. Next one. Because this city card is so much nicer. Man, I'm gonna have to figure out that checking before our next session because it's kind of irritating. Okay, so we have 4,000 right here. I'm gonna take that void, deal with that to look at these. So 62.73, 50, 800, 9, 41.73, 118, 25, 680, 15, 1398. I lost my number. 54, 19, 60, 297, 46, 899, 399, 144. Let's see, 294.99, 15, 24.99, 39, 22, 20, 69, 25, 15, 340, 20, 24.99, 12.95, 120, 698, 145. Not the 800. There's 3902, and there's the 5586. Okay, so these aren't being issues, right? This is pretty easy. Those are clearing up pretty well. Okay, so the question is, I know I haven't dived way too much into that checking account. So the question is, can we look at the cleanup account and see what's going on in there yet? So I'm gonna do that and say that's my ending date of this engagement. I'm going through 531, okay? So I'm gonna see everything that I have pulled over here and just to look at what's going on. Do I wanna deal with this stuff? That sort of thing, right? So what I kind of am looking at is like these are all the transactions I have. I'm trying to scroll. There's nothing more to scroll. So I want to see like things that I can deal with. So there's a 0. I can get rid of that, right? That's voided. But nothing else is really like that's a time frame there. That's January stuff. So I can't like really offset this 250 to that 250 because they're, a lot of days apart, more than I want to deal with. So I'm going to close this out and I'm going to go back to checking. But this is the only way you're going to get the stuff that you want, that you need to get. Oh my God. Why is it all checked off? So, guys, not cool. Not cool, QuickBooks. You know what? Let's see. Let's go with another approach since it just screwed with me because what it did was it rechecked off everything it already cleared. Because for some reason QuickBooks wants to annoy me. Usually that doesn't happen. I mean, it annoys me, but usually I don't have that issue. So what I'm gonna first do is re-reconcile January. Do I have enough ones? So I can see all the open transactions that I need to just get rid of in here. So I'm just gonna uncheck everything. So the reason is like, look, all these transactions in here are screwing up my February one. So I can't, I'm going to be dealing with all that crap in addition to February. And obviously February's crap too. So like, I want to get rid of this and deal with these. So that option will be to come in here and do all these unmatchings and move them to cleanup because these suck, right? So I don't want to take up all your time just watching me do this over and over again, but that would be the plan of attack to get these out of the way so that I can do a clean February and I'm not having to like worry about it automatically checking things again, anything like that. It's like, let's just get this back to a point that I can handle and deal with. I think in the year that I have taught this course, this is the most complicated and difficult situation I put myself in. You like that? I'm like, get me out of here. Okay. Unmatch, clean up, save and close. Okay, so I want to get rid of some of these zeros because when something's voided, I'm done with it, right? Like, let's actually reconcile it because it's a 0. I love the people that don't reconcile voided transactions. It's like, no, I don't want that in my list. Let's just check it off. So yeah, I have that. It's gotten better, right? So what I'll continue to do, so I'm not wasting all of your time, is to work through all that and get it into the right place so that we can do February. Because I really want to reconcile February and make it nice. Okay. And really show you more examples of deleting stuff and not deleting, don't delete. seeing copies, duplicates of stuff, voiding those and all of that. So we will be seeing more of those in the next session, and I will be showing you even more things of when the deposit's messed up. How do you deal with that? Looking at AR and AP and making sure all of those things are cleaned up. So we'll be looking at all of those things in the next session, all still touching on doing the reconciliations, because a lot of the time you have to know what to do with those transactions while you're doing the reconciliation. Because that's, how we get there. And then once, like I said, once we get through reconciliations, you see we're fixing up so much stuff. It's little what we have to deal with on the other end of things. I mean, we go through revenue if we, miss something or whatever, but at least we know that the transaction amounts are right. It's just a matter of making sure that, AR is nice and clean and AP is nice and clean and stuff. And we don't have undeposited funds and our revenue is correct, all of this sort of stuff. But we will pull all of that together in the next session. Okay, guys? So with that, let me show you that one last thing, the reclassify. So the example that I was showing you on that product service thing. So again, if I'm looking at an expense on here, I have that category, which is the chart of account, and it goes to that chart of account, right? And I can see if I added it here, it would show on the P&L and it would be something I could reclassify. If I'm using product service, it isn't a chart of account, so I can't reclassify this, right? I have to change the actual mapping underneath in the product service. So when we go through the process of using reclassified transactions to make sure things are in the right place, things you want to look out for are deposits in the wrong area. Well, if they're using invoices and sales receipts, we don't want to see deposits, right? But we also want to look out for things like negative accounts. So this would be an example of social media. I'm looking down here and I have a negative amount for $250 and it's an invoice. So that's not in the right place, right? And look, I have another one and I have another one. So there's a lot in here of those. Let me see if I can actually just filter that to that. So it gives me, all of those that are invoices, right? If I click on this, dude, you have to double click now. You can see that the product service I'm using is social media cleanup. So at that point, I want to exit out of here, right? Oh, it's freaking out. Whatever. Go over to product services, come over here, and then check out how that mapping is set up. So I come in here and I look at the edit of it. And I can see right here, the income account, it's going to an expense account. It's going to social media as an expense, right? Actually, if I scroll down, the expense side of it is going to revenue. Totally messed up, right? So if I just type in social media, I can put that here. I check off this box to include all historical transactions because it is okay in my engagement to change those historical transactions. I'm okay with this prior period changes and everything. I've made that determination. And then here, I'm going to change this to expenses, put that there, right? Update everything, save and close. So when I come back to reclassify over here, and I go to 0118, 053118, and I come down to my social media charges again, those invoices are gone, okay? I have now bulk moved them into social media, and now they are all up here in their proper place. Okay, so that's how we deal with reclassifying invoices pretty much. Because on invoices, you have no option to code to an actual chart of account. It is just product service. Okay, so that is it for today's session. Like I said, we're going to get into even more complicated transactions next time. My homework is to kind of clean up um, January and February a little bit in the checking account, and we can get some really good examples of March and going forward, and then really, yes, all those other complicated accounts in there. Okay. So thank you guys for your time today, and I hope you have a great holiday. And I'm going to see you guys on Wednesday or Friday. Dear God, on Friday, and we'll go over our next session. Okay, great. Lost my mind. So thank you guys. Have a great one and have a great holiday. Yes, absolutely. See you guys later. Bye.